I don't want to
Really,
get
the vibes that I'm bringing to the studio tonight?
This is between you and them, I think.
No, I think this is universal. If I give universal guinea pig vibes, I need to be aware of that.
Why do I have to participate in this?
You're complicit.
I'm not complicit.
You're absolutely. You won't do anything to fix it. You're complicit.
I didn't tell Kian to call you a guinea pig.
You didn't tell him to stop.
I didn't have to tell them to stop. It's not my business.
I don't think I'm a guinea pig.
But why are you?
I think there are much more accurate rodents.
Hold on, for those. Okay, 1, you're a quokka. 2,
thank you.
What's the origin?
Yeah, what is this stemming from?
Let me pull up the meme that I was sent. They have sent me a meme about how it is easy to have the courage of a lion. They are gigantic and have claws and no natural predators. Have the courage of the guinea pig, a 2-pound meat potato with 0 offensive or defensive abilities that will scream at an ape 100 times its size if their lettuce is too wilty. And they said, that reminds me of you.
Yeah, no, that
I don't disagree.
Right. I don't disagree.
Yeah, that's not wrong.
I'm not going to yell at an ape. I'm smarter than that.
Don't,
I might be an idiot, but I'm not stupid.
But you are that small.
Well, that's neither here nor there. There are plenty of things that are small.
That's here and there, actually.
No, I could be a quokka. Let me be a quokka.
Did you know
quokkas aren't as fighty as you?
Did you know wombats have square poops?
That's true.
I did, yeah. Cubes.
Are you saying I'm a wombat?
No, but they're related.
But I'll take it.
What is everybody's rodent here?
What's your rodent soda? Get in the comments. I've been assigned ferret before, and I feel like that's much more accurate.
I feel like ferret would be okay, but you're so fighty that I feel like guinea pig just doesn't make sense. Ferrets are not
fought
fighty.
A guinea pig. I have fought a ferret.
They're filled with malfeasance. JD, I mean this in the nicest way possible, but you're a proper New York City rat.
I don't know how to take that.
as complimentary as possible. I mean it in the nicest
New York
way.
City, the proper streetwise New York City rat that some 20-something quirky socialite has taken into her abode and given a really nice little rat castle.
Flushed away.
Yes, thank you. JD is a street rat who knows better, but deserves a little rat castle. I think that's beautiful.
Ratatouille. I just watched Ratatouille on Saturday, and I was stoned. I was just gone, and I was just like, "Look at that fucking guy."
Let's see here.
Anyway, sorry.
Hands be damned. That man can cook.
Let him cook.
Thank you.
That movie is
him cook.
Let him cook.
Amber, would you accept chinchilla as your rodent assignment?
I would accept chinchilla.
Okay.
But very much so. But I also this is the correct answer.
Oh,
I don't think opossums are marsupials, not rodents.
They're not rodents. They're correct. They're marsupials. North America is only marsupial. But
if we're diverging from rodent, though, I would give you opossum easily.
We can go rodent adjacent. I feel like marsupials.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to a season of rodents.
A season
and
of
marsupials.
Okay. I like it. Let's roll with it.
Everybody create your Monsterhearts rodent Sona. Get in the comments.
You can't put Sona after everything. It's not.
Yes,
you can, JT.
I'm not standing for this.
I can do whatever I want
incorrect.
with it.
I'm putting my foot down.
I thought you knew what fan fiction was.
I know what fan fiction is. We don't have to. Amber, you're the only one here besides me who understands what callback comedy is. I stand by that compliment. I do.
I take offense to that.
You should.
Come on, JD, we don't deserve this.
Referring to you specifically.
I think this is the perfect energy to be going into this episode with, because we're about to have a time together.
Oh, fuck. Sorry. Quick sidebar. I forgot. Okay, so I was about to turn on Spotify to have my music in the background for the game, and I was about to hit play, and I forgot that I was listening to the Britney Spears audiobook right before this on Spotify. I was about to hit play.
Those are
That's
the
the energy.
vibes. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
My
vibes are
back-
immaculate.
My background music is of Mice and Men.
I have so many
No, it's
questions.
The band or
JT.
the book? Hold on.
The book.
The book.
Oh, okay. Because there's a
The
band.
book as read by the band. It's actually a very niche cover.
Mm.
It's a concept album.
It's a concept album. Fuck, I would pay good money for that, actually. And I have neither read nor listened to either. We don't have media where I'm from.
Oh. Kansas City?
No, the place from the before times.
Ah, yes.
Not those fancy moving pictures. I don't know. Didn't have those till college.
You had fancy moving pictures.
You don't know my life, Jeet.
Yeah, but I know where you're from.
Anyway, this episode is just going to be us bullying each other for 3 hours.
I mean, honestly, I think you're not that far off. But with that, since I can take control of the stream, hi everyone. If you have stuck around this long, we are live from the apocalypse. We are a not-for-profit TTRPG studio that raises money for aid organizations and good causes. We are currently fundraising for Rainbow Railroad, which is an organization that helps queer, and especially in this day and age, trans people get from unsafe environments to safer ones, whether that is changing states, homes, or even countries, if that is what is needed. We are, as you can see, getting very, very close to our ultimate goal of raising $1,000 for the Canadian branch, having already raised $1,000 for the American branch.
Yeah.
The cool thing is the exchange rate works in our favor. So whatever money you throw this way, it's going to be more than what you're putting down with the conversion. So that is really cool. We would love to. Honestly, it would be really awesome if we could announce a new charity before our holiday event. But if not, we're going to be pushing into the end of the year with this as our goal and see where that takes us. I'm trying to think of all the things. My mind isn't working great because it is a Monday and I am not used to running streams on a Monday night. This will be an incredible time. Yes, so instead of subscribing, we ask that you donate. So any money you would have given us in subscriptions, bits, anything that would have gone to Father Bezos, just put it directly towards Rainbow Railroad. If you do want to throw a subscription our way and you can find the subscribe button, which is a challenge because we've hidden it, you can, especially if you're doing it with an Amazon Prime sub. That said, just know for every month that you are subscribed, beloved Dimension 20 Dungeon Master Brennan Lee Mulligan will kill one dog for each month. It's been a bad couple of weeks for that. Hundreds, thousands, maybe even millions. And I'm so sorry, Elise, because you are running out of fiancés.
So quickly am I running out of fiancés, and I just got this one.
I know. I'm so sorry.
I'd like to keep him for a second, if I may.
We'll see. We'll see if anyone is a monster, and if they are not, Fitz will be safe for another day.
Make good choices, kids.
And with that, the last thing I didn't say is if you are on a computer, desktop, laptop, whatever, non-mobile device, you can find the donate button where the subscribe button would usually be. If you are on a mobile device, you can type in !donate at any point. That'll pull the link up. You will be able to donate that way. When you do that, the Malcore brothers will yell specifically at me. The cast may yell in response to this if they are aware that the donation is coming in. I may just scream into the microphone. Who knows? It's, like I said, a Monday, and many wild things could happen. I think that is all of the housekeeping I have. So tonight, we are having a special episode of a season of Secrets and Shadows. This is one of 2 episodes that will be happening. The first tonight, the following one next Monday, where I will be bringing together 3 players from different tables, having them at the same table for the first, and at least for this season, only time outside of the chaotic 8-person table that we started with. And so with that, I am going to have my cast go around, introduce themselves, their character, and their current playbook. And then we're going to jump right in because we left you on quite literally a cliffhanger. And so starting with you, Kit.
Oh, snap. It's me. Hi. I'm Kit. You can find me most places on the internet at Kit Roll. Tonight, I will be Miss Elise Clarendon. Playbook, totally the mortal, totally not the vampire or anything else.
You have always been a human. In fact,
Thank
I
you.
distinctly recall that you and Astrid and Fitz, at least the three of you,
Perhaps Dorian?
Perhaps Dorian. Maybe Dorian.
I think Dorian was also in the Oops All Mortals.
Dorian was also
Dorian
immortal.
Dorian was also the Oops All Mortals. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just been we're having a very mortally time.
Yeah.
You are, and I mean, so many interesting things have happened.
And yet here I am, mortaling it up.
Mortaling it up, drinking blood sometimes.
Don't worry about it. All the hot Regency girls are doing it.
It's the new fad, and
it's good for your health. I'm anemic. Don't look at me.
And yes, as Steph said, hot Regency autumn. That definitely describes what's been happening with Astrid. And speaking of Astrid, Amber, you are up next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Amber, also known as The Space Jamber. I am a 3-time Emmy-nominated TTRPG writer, editor, podcaster, and streamer. You can find me anywhere there's internet at The Space Jamber, including Threads, where I'm currently having a giveaway for a... I don't have the book on me right now. It's the normal version of Phandelver and Below. I just have the special edition. So, yeah. Hang out there. I'm playing... I almost said Elise Clarendon. Not correct. I'm playing Lady Astrid Primer, who...
You, Amber?
Welcome to Monsterhearts, baby. I'm taking your character sheet. I'm playing Elise Primer. Not Elise Primer. Wow. Astrid Primer.
Oops, all
I've had a bad day.
Oops, all Elise.
You just want the character. You would have it.
Everybody, I'm back. No. No, I am playing Lady Astrid Primer, who has never been a unicorn. She's never been a unicorn. And she definitely is not currently a Huldra. She's definitely still a person.
Correct.
She is a human person. So that is where we're at.
And I mean, I think that brings us to JT. Do we have another human person with us at this table?
No, sorry.
You haven't brought your human Sona?
Damn.
It's...
What's your Jeet Sona?
My Jeet Sona?
Everybody drop your Jeet Sona in the comments.
My what? Excuse me?
Which Jeet are you? Tag yourself and find it.
Please, don't. Hi. I'm JT or Jeet if you prefer. You can find me all over the internet at WeebJeet or on Threads at Weeb_Jeet. As of like 4 days ago, tonight I will be playing Elise Frostpin.
Oh no, it's Elise.
I'll be playing Octavia Frostpin, no longer a lady, still just as cold as she was before she got kicked off the court. She has a sword and a human glamour.
A human Sona.
No.
Yeah, a human Sona.
That's a disgusting word, and I hate it.
Also, Will says that he is, I know what fanfiction is, Will Jeet.
Oh, that's a good Jeet. That's a
Please,
great
no,
really
that's a
Jeet.
normal Jeet. All Jeets know what fanfiction is.
And JT, I just need to keep this up
I'm
so
being
that
so
you can
bullied.
see that your titles reflect the change in your role.
No,
You are no
Miss
longer
Frostpin.
Lady Octavia Frostpin.
Can you fit Winter Exile on there somewhere?
Sure, we'll get right on that.
Workshop.
We'll workshop that.
Cool. I'm the Fae. Now on to JD.
Damn it! I thought with Will not here that I could not be forced to do this.
No, which
tragic.
Elise are you tonight?
I take Venmo and PayPal. Will.
Which Elise am I? I am not JD. I am Elise. I am also Elise. We are
Hell
all
yeah.
Elise.
We are all.
We are all Elise.
And I felt Elise in that Chili's.
Kid, why? Kid, why? Why would you
Take
do
a
this
second.
to me?
You know exactly why, JD.
You know what? Steph is right. I'm just the little guy, Elise.
That's a good Elise.
And it's, you know what? It's true. And I want all of you to remember that as we move on tonight. Remember that I'm just a little guy. I'm not a monster. I'm not a terrible person. We're going to have a great time. I am the storyteller, and I will be playing everyone else. So, how many other Elises will we see? Who knows?
Who can never be sure, you know?
Across the Clarendon verse.
Oh, God. Not again. We can't keep doing this.
That's where we're going. That's what we fell into, is the Clarendon verse.
I don't know why people are saying JD, what does that mean? Or JD, that was sus as hell. I have never done anything wrong ever in my life, and we all know this. Correct?
Agreed.
I see some skeptical looks, but we all know. We all know the truth. And with that, I think it is time to dive right in.
Oh, I thought I thought JD was cracking knuckles, and I was like, oh my God.
That was
JD
beautiful
said,
sound
actually,
effects.
everybody roll initiative real quick.
There is an
Yeah.
initiative in this game, but like, roll it anyways.
Yeah, I made you 5e character sheets. Good luck.
Yeah, didn't everyone have a chance to look over the character sheets I sent them earlier? Gosh.
Fuck.
I knew I was supposed to open that email.
And so, with this being a special episode, with this being a unique situation,
Yeah, Justin, fucking grip it and rip it, baby.
Damn it,
Slop that
Kian.
down, dude.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Kian.
dude,
I love you.
crack one for the big boy.
What do they say in that? They say grip it and rip it in that one.
Rip it and rip it.
Yep.
Baby.
I think mine's a little better, but
Now that I have to reorient my brain, cause on this special night, I do not have a script for the intro because we are diving right into the action. And so, we ended many parts of the last episode on cliffhangers, but one notable one was the moment when Octavia and Astrid were having a bit of a heart-to-heart, one could say. And Astrid asked Octavia, "What do you know about changelings?" And before Octavia could answer, the world fell apart beneath them. And they slipped through the cracks. But we're not going to start with them. Because they were not the only ones affected by this. where we start, it is almost blindingly bright. And it isn't because the light here is categorically different than the light anywhere else. It is that everything here is turned up beyond 11 to a point where it would be almost oversaturated, but not. It looks somehow realer than real. And where we find ourselves is in the center of a field. It could be the field somewhere back on Earth. It could be. I mean, there is nothing that you would look at and say, this is so alien, it could not belong there. But it feels alien. The grass looks almost too sharp, but it isn't. It's grass. If you touch it, it's actually soft. Almost more like hair than the rough edges of grass that you would feel up on the surface. Well, I say up on the surface because you fell, but we don't always just fall down. And we find in the center of this field Miss Elise Clarendon laying there, almost as though they have fallen from some sort of height. They are unharmed. They do not have a single mark or bruise on them, but Elise is alone. What does she do?
I think she takes her time. I think she sort of, realizes where she is, opens her eyes before she sits up properly. And then does so, looks around, just kind of runs a hand through the grass, just sort of like getting her bearings a little bit. And then just sort of out loud to nobody, I think. It's just so this is where it's to be. Bold choice. Then stand up, sort of look herself over, make sure everything is as it should be, not a hair out of place, not a scratch where there shouldn't be. And I think she'll get to walking. I don't know that she's walking with any sort of purpose, but I mean, when you're in Faerie, you just sort of walk and things sort of come upon you. So I think that's sort of what we're banking on at this point.
I think that is extremely reasonable for Elise to start walking, and you find yourself drawn to what you would imagine is east, but you can't entirely be sure. The illumination above, well, it always is in the same place until it isn't. And so directions are a bit meaningless, but you set out on a path that feels chosen for you to take. And it is not long until you hear the sound of voices. But before we get to that, we are going to rejoin Astrid and Octavia, because you have both found yourselves in a place that at least one of you has some familiarity with. Octavia, you were born and raised within the Winter Court, and you have not necessarily spent much time in this part of Faerie. You have always been contained to the lands of winter. But this is the heart of Faerie. This is the part that cannot be claimed by any one court, because that would disrupt the balance. And rather than the field that Elise found themselves in, the two of you are in a wood. The trees, in this instance, the trees do not look like normal trees. The trees are metallic. The bark made of interlocking pieces of some sort of golden substance. The leaves that of silver. So much like the grass that Elise ran her hand through, while you might expect these edges to be sharp, they are not if you touch them. And while the two of you fell for what felt like an endlessly long time, there was no impact when you hit the ground. It was like falling on a mattress. And the two of you, unlike Elise, were together.
Lady Primer, are you quite all right?
Yeah, yes. I'm fine. How are you? Miss Frostpet.
I'm good. Have you ever been here before?
No, I have no earthly idea where we could possibly be.
That's okay. Octavia will dispel her glamour because she's as home as she's going to get right now. Best stick with me then.
Yes, I mean it's always easier to keep with a familiar face and unfamiliar territory.
Yes. We never kept maps of this place in particular because, what's the point in mapping somewhere that doesn't want to be mapped, right? But, always the first time for everything. Welcome to Faerie. It's really not, I hope to show my friends winter, but for the first friend to come with me here, this is not a terrible place to start. We'll find our way eventually.
Okay. Where are we? I mean, I'm surely you're familiar with this part of Faerie.
Well, not as familiar as I would have liked to be, but I wasn't allowed to leave much. But based on what Helix has taught me, this is unclaimed, unclaimable. It's the heart. And I'm sure we're here for a reason. I mean, the veil between worlds doesn't just shatter for no reason.
Surely doesn't.
But come, We can walk. Octavia will offer Astrid a hand to pull her up, or
As you do, as Astrid grabs your hand with a delicately gloved grip, you see for the first time a long, I don't want to say like horse-like, but almost donkey-like tail protruding from underneath Astrid's skirt. It's long but dark brown fur, like the same color of their hair, with a tuft of white at the end. But it flicks momentarily as to help them regain their balance standing up before ducking underneath their skirt.
are you familiar with Faerie at all? Rules, etiquette?
I know that. No, I'm not.
The basics, then. Don't tell anyone your true name. Don't accept food from anyone, unless explicitly I do as well. I don't know what people in the heart are like, but if we encounter anyone, perhaps best we avoid doing that. Talking to them, I mean.
Okay. Forgive my impropriety. I just might need to run through it one more time. No food, if offered. No true names.
Mhm.
And avoid talking to anyone.
As much as can be avoided. You know, Faye, we're very talkative.
Yes. Tricky. Okay.
Not always, but promises, etc. The words mean a lot to us. More than they do to mortals in London. Point being, choose them carefully. Speak what you mean if you can. Propriety doesn't mean the same thing here, but you'll get an intuition for it, I think.
Okay. Well, luckily, my childhood in society, my adolescence in society has taught me how to keep a smart tongue. So, I will choose my words wisely. Thank you for the warning.
Of course. Anything for a friend, right?
Friend. Yes. Of course.
And I think that is the moment that the two of you hear footsteps approaching.
Octavia's hand is to her sword, but she knows better than to just draw it now.
I think Elisa's sort of peeking, like there's nothing really to peek around, but sort of doing that little like head tilt, sort of peeking. Am I interrupting?
Biggest smile
Elise.
crosses Octavia's face.
There's a bit of surprise at that, but
Miss Clarendon.
oh, bow, of course, surely.
No.
Miss Frostpen.
Well, actually, Octavia will bow to Astrid.
Elise. Oh. I think Astrid's just going to completely cross whatever distance is between them and Elise, and as delicately as possible, take her friend in for a hug.
If there was shock at Octavia's response, there is even more shock at this. But, you know, half a second of like tripping over it, and then absolutely the hug is returned. For sure.
I'm so sorry. I don't normally get physical with anybody, but I'm
No,
so
by all
much.
means.
All of a sudden, it's nice to see a friendly face, a familiar face. Do you know where we are?
I have my theories. I'm glad I could at least be a familiar face to you. Sort of looks at Octavia. I assume you know where we're at. Yes?
Where we're at in like the general sense
As much as one can.
in Faerie, yes.
It's good to see you too.
Absolute delight. I've been meaning to get back over to the palace now that things are different.
Yes, I suppose they are. I think I would quite like that when we return from why ever we're here.
Seemed you
I
had a
assume
headache,
you did not just come for a visit.
No, we fell for a visit.
Purposefully.
No.
So does that mean you're eager to leave?
Not necessarily. I was just telling Lady Primer, the veil between worlds doesn't break for no reason. So whatever we're here for, we will find eventually. But I don't think that it's for no reason.
What possible reasons could there be for the veils to break when it's not?
It's possible
Sully.
someone called us here. It's possible we were met with a weak spot, but that is significantly less likely unless someone was doing magic about it, which I don't think you were, and I certainly wasn't. Unless Elise was?
I can't imagine it was me.
No, of course not. Only one way to find out, though.
I suppose. Are you... Not to be improprietous or what have you, but is it all right? You being here, is that... Are you comfortable with that?
What is propriety to an unaligned fae?
I suppose there's a point there. And she will offer an elbow to Octavia.
Octavia will take it.
By
And
all
Octavia
means.
will extend one to Lady Primer.
I guess when diving into the unknown, it's best to present a united front.
Oh, yes, especially with fae.
Astrid will take the proffered arm and look for Octavia to lead the way.
Astrid, I would like you to roll with dark.
Just like for fun, or like
Just like real casual.
That's a 5. So I'm gonna mark experience.
Love that for you. Love
You'll
that
just
for you
see
so
it.
much.
What's going on, JD?
So with that, Astrid, you're reflecting on what was happening right before you fell, and you're thinking about what Octavia said about magic, and you are really sure that Octavia is right. The fact that this happened, the fact that the three of you are here, that is completely because you were finding and tugging on those threads. And that led you to be in this position now. But you're also starting to feel a prickling sensation. Kind of like every hair is standing on end. And it's not the sensation of someone watching you, it's the sensation of this place watching you.
Astrid's eyes don't leave the ground as the trio is walking through the forest. She is completely lost in her own thoughts, those dark navy eyes clouded with concern and regret, remorse, but also scanning the ground for any potential issues, any potential villains who might be coming to knock us from our feet, or roots or what have you. So but with her head down, craned down towards the ground, of course it makes the delicate little baby hairs on the back of Astrid's neck rise from feeling the presence of eyes that she knows just aren't there. But she feels like she should warn everyone, but because you don't know quite who's here, who's watching, who's paying attention. I mean, she was warned not to use too many words if necessary. So she keeps that to herself.
Octavia,
Yeah,
roll with dark.
I like rolling with dark, JD. I really do. But every time you say that, it terrifies me. It's cocked. It's just goofy little 7. I like 7s, right? What are those?
And I think with a 7, you are lost in thought about those last few moments with Astrid before the two of you fell. About that question that they asked you. Why would they ask you what you know about changelings? And that just keeps going over and over and over in your mind, and it doesn't stop. And I would imagine, given Octavia's guidance to Astrid about being mindful in her words, it's almost feeling harder and harder to not speak those words aloud, to not ask Astrid what they meant. Like an earworm that won't stop.
I think Octavia gets a little bit colder as she grows more nervous about this because she doesn't want to bring it up around Elise, but she also promised not to divulge secret.
You did promise.
Yeah,
It was
but
the end of last episode. You promised me.
here's the thing about Faye, right? I don't know if you ever specified what the secret was. I don't know if we got to that.
You fuck.
So while they're walking, Octavia's just sort of following her instinct in the way that she knows how to move through Faerie. It's just quiet as she can lean over to Lady Primer pardon. I don't mean to bring this up now, specifically in front of company, but I do trust Elise, at least implicitly. I, I just need to ask what you meant earlier before we found ourselves here.
Um, how do you mean?
You asked about my knowledge pertaining to a certain topic?
Yes. Yes, I did. Um, but is now really the time to be, uh, I, I really, I mean, I know you're very inquisitive about this, but I really feel like given our current location and our current circumstances, maybe that conversation should be shelved for the time being.
Have you ever had an impulse, Miss Primer, Lady Primer? One that you just couldn't ignore? An idea
Constantly.
or a thought? We try not to ignore those in Faerie. And right now, I am feeling relatively impulsive regarding your situation, and I would like to not be. Again, I know Elise. I don't think that she would be a terrible person to be present or privy to, but I understand if you don't want to tell, and I will attempt to quell it for sake of yourself. I would be remiss if I did not ask.
What specifically is your question again?
What did you mean by that?
Uh, I've just come into some. Well, I mean, you did ask me so directly and kindly. Um, I have come into some knowledge recently. I did discover some things recently during the passage of seasons, and I um, s- still don't know what some of these things mean. And as somebody who um, has more knowledge of such matters, I didn't know if you would have any information that you would like to you're able to impart.
Tavia will nod. JD, what do I know about changelings?
You know that it is still a fairly common practice for Fae of all of the courts, perhaps a bit less with the unaligned ones, but especially with court Fae, to take a human child and replace it with a fairy child. And that often that is done in the hopes of allowing that child to grow into someone who will be in a position of power and able to influence other elements. Can't say of the mortal world because we know that the world is both mortal and supernatural, but to move beyond the realm of fairy and have no one the wiser that they are in the presence of a Fae. That it is done strategically and not lightly, though the stories make it seem like this is just something the Fae do on a whim.
Is this something that the courts would have kept track of?
It is.
Now, I know this might sound a stretch, but would Octavia have come across in any of her research with Helix records of Winter Court changelings?
Yes.
And the Primer family?
Not Winter Court.
Okay. Lady Primer, I know a great deal about changelings. Perhaps a story best told. Well, rumors, not rumors. Hi, buddy. Come here.
Potato.
Hi. Come on. Come up, say hi. Oh, big stretch. Come on. There he is. He is the boy.
We are blessed.
I love this song.
Tater, can we get a second? Oh, hell yeah.
Can I get an hour?
He's not gonna hour.
Aw.
He's just going to bed.
No hour for me.
Is this not information you want shared in front of Elise, or could I divulge this particular story to the general?
I feel like maybe among the three of us, we're among trusted company, but I'm not sure if among all of us, we're in trusted company.
I would like to trust you. Or I would hope that you can trust me too. And as a show of that, a word to the wise regarding Fae promises. It's important to be detailed. We don't like making assumptions, which is the only reason I'm asking. But if you trust Elise, then I will share with both of you this information.
I trust Elise. And I trust you.
I'm sorry. And Octavia will turn back to Elise.
Elise has her eyes to the side of the path, like very pointedly not paying attention, very pointedly understanding there is a conversation that I'm not supposed to be privy to. I am over here. I am looking at flowers.
Changelings, Lady Primer, Miss Clarendon, are a Fae mechanism of sorts. The stories with regards to Fae swapping children with changelings, while true at its core, not necessarily as hapless as they would have you believe. Fae changelings are often swapped in for families of power, new kin that can grow up to be pulled back into Fae and manipulated to the extent of Faerie that they were meant to. This is more common in the aligned courts than it is any unaligned Fae. However, it's not unheard of with regards to anyone being or not being a changeling. However, the Winter Court, to my knowledge, has not affected any families present as such. for the record of both of you, Miss Clarendon, I hope for clear reasons, and Primer, I hope for clearer yet.
I suppose that's good information to have. Would hope I would know if I was such a being, but I suppose these things are secretive for a reason, no?
Often the case, yes. It is not my favorite practice among the Fae, but what control do I have?
Astrid,
Mhm.
remind me when you had created that cloak of concealment out of the fallen leaves of autumn. You had mentioned that when you do that, you take a piece of the part of nature that you have used. Where and what did you take in, and how did that manifest for those who could see?
Astrid's hair normally appears to everyone as like a deep, rich chestnut. Warm, inviting, but plain. You know? As a lady is meant to be. Warm, inviting, and plain. But Astrid takes in the variance in color that the autumn leaves have and infuses it with her hair color to something a little bit more captivating, something that represents the essence of the forest in fall. At this point. So her hair has a bit more of a reddish tone to it now, and the hues are varied, not just one flat color. It's multidimensional. What you would read on a Clairol box, actually, if you're dyeing your own hair at home.
She got highlights.
Yeah, bitch.
Incredible. We'd love to see all of that.
Astrid got that balayage.
So, Astrid, you're the one who notices this first because how could you not? Because as you're walking and the wind is moving through your hair, you start to hear the rustling of leaves. And when you reach back to run your fingers through those strands, you feel the leaves mixed in.
Hold on. The autism isn't picking up. Are you saying
Your hair
are
is
you
sprouting
saying
leaves.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Your hair is straight up sprouting leaves.
Sick. Okay. Great. Love that. Thank you. I was like, is Shady saying what I think he's saying? Yeah, Astrid goes to like tuck, like, tuck a couple of like instinctually tuck her hair behind her ears, but like gets the leaves instead, and it's just like, oh, the stress from wedding planning must be making my hair so brittle. I'll have to go in for a deep condition when we return from where we are now.
So, JD, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Just basing this solely on the assumption that Octavia is not entirely daft and knows Astrid's secret has probably noticed the change in her hair.
Mm-hmm.
Is just going to like lean into Astrid a little bit as they walk. Brittle as autumn, huh? Crunchy leaves. Beautiful season, really. But I'm partial to my own.
One thinks that they would be more inclined to season of life, and that they have more potential in a season of life, but
Lady Primer, every season is a season of life. Winter brings out as much life as summer does, and spring flowers are only just as relevant as the shedding of leaves in autumn. It's all transformative, and life goes on no matter what. The frogs get too cold and they go into hibernation. Bears and squirrels in them store food for the winter, but they survive nonetheless. And humans build fires in their fireplaces and have parties in the summer, and they garden and cultivate for every season.
at least what do you make of all this? If there were such a being in our midst, what
Elise sort
what
of startles as if I totally wasn't paying attention to that. I totally didn't see anything to worry.
no, if there were to be someone in society that, what dangers do you think they might face?
What dangers would they face? Well, I don't know that I would be the person to ask. Sort of as they're walking, I think Elise will sort of like take a couple paces ahead and then turn around, do the sort of like tour guide walk backwards sort of thing so that they can like chat at them, if that makes sense. Just sort of, hands sort of tucked behind them, just sort of like staring, watching, the scenery as they're passing, just sort of musing. I mean, I suppose they wouldn't know, would they? Like you said, Octavia, it's quite a secret, one that tends to be kept rather well, if I'm understanding correctly. I suppose there would only be as much danger as comes with the knowing. And if one were not to know, I suppose there's only so much danger as a mortal would face. Am I incorrect?
Well, times are always changing, and as with the Fae, I mean, were a changeling to figure it out before any Fae court might contact them, it might depend entirely on what choices they've opted to make. In so much as they only wish to pull any strings they might need to, I should doubt that that would be the case as of current.
Yes, I should imagine so. And I suppose the courts would only be aware of such a person knowing their situation if that person were to make it plainly known outside of themselves.
Well,
it's one thing to know, it's another to be letting it be known. And
we do keep records, or at least we do in winter.
Well, yes, I imagine the Fae would know who they've changed. I suppose it's up to the individual whether the Fae knows that they know. And if everyone assumes that the secret is still under wraps, then I suppose the status quo would remain, yes?
Possibly.
But once the courts are aware that their meddling, I suppose, has been found out, well, I don't think I rightly know what would happen.
The Fae aren't much for violence. I wouldn't imagine anyway. Not more or less than me or
No,
my dear uncle, but
but trickery.
sure, absolutely. But your fate is only your own. I fall for it or not, make your choices. If you find out, you can always backpedal. As long as you haven't made any promises.
Mm. Yes, but are we not all beholden to the choices of others insofar as they affect us?
That's getting a
We
little
exist, none of us, in a
philosophical.
vacuum. Do we not, Octavia?
Well, I did, and look how I turned out once they let me free.
Even you are not immune to the ties of others.
The point being, I'm sure that were someone a changeling and they were in the know, they would be perfectly safe for the most part. An asset to one side and unknown to the other. Not really bode for an unsafe solution or resolution of the tension. I would say do as you wish. Should any Fae come a knocking, tell them to fuck right off.
I suppose that's one way to go about it.
I mean, as long as telling them to fuck right off wouldn't get me on the receiving end of any hexes or what have you, then
We don't do hexes.
Hexes are for witches, are they not?
Witches, infernals, whatever Abigail's doing. Well,
do Fae
Abigail, I wouldn't say
perform?
hexes per se. She's actually doing more of the dealing these days, like I would be if I were, in her shoes.
Hmm.
I respect it quite a bit. In fact, I think we're becoming friends. But point
Is
is,
that so?
a little bit, yeah.
Hmm.
I ran out of places to live, and well, she had one.
Suppose it's as good a place as any. And if she operates on the same metrics as yourself, speaking of deals and promises and things, I suppose it's as good of a fit as any, yes?
Of course.
Though I'm sure if you asked, the castle's doors might be open to you as well.
No, I couldn't put Micah through anymore. And who knows how my
Oh,
living
Micah
in
could
the
stand to
palace
be put through a bit more.
I wouldn't want to do that to you either, or your poor new seneschal, who I'm sure is going to be put through the ringer by us already.
You wouldn't want to do that to me? To be around me?
I wouldn't want to make you unsafe if my living in the palace would be perceived as some sort of declaration by my dear old uncle.
Suppose your uncle would have more to fear than you would, if that were to be the case.
Yes, that's why he kicked me out.
Hmm. And that was his first mistake.
I miss talking with you.
Hey,
You speak so
JD.
plainly.
And
What's
I
up?
suppose, JT, because consent matters, can I roll to turn someone on?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Excellent.
Please roll with hot.
Cool. I would,
Finally, Octavia's
if I
not
may,
going on the
can I,
couch in that
hey,
meme
JD, can I do
anymore.
a thing?
Yep.
Can I
And you
perhaps give a string? Cool. Cool.
Those? I don't think I've gained one since this game started.
Oh, well, congratulations. You have one now.
Yay. Delightful.
Let's see if I can roll for anything.
is fucking allowed? Is this allowed?
That's a 9,
We're not.
okay.
which I believe is a decent enough success.
It is. They can either give you a string or choose one of the reactions. I give myself to you, I promise something I think you want, or I get embarrassed and act awkward.
Oh, hold on.
And I definitely think we're like close enough, like proximity wise, that like there is like the hand is still at the elbow, right? And then it's sort of like playing with the cuff of her sleeve, just like casual.
I feel like narratively, Octavia's already so awkward. And just for Astrid and Elise's point of view, I don't think they've ever seen Octavia any other color than the shade of blue that her skin is. But when Elise starts talking to her, her cheeks do turn red. Yes, of course, mistake. Right. My uncle, yes. So, as we were saying about changelings, I would hope any present company, would they be around to hear, would feel comfortable confiding at least with me about it.
Yes, of course. Just sort of like takes a step back. It's still sort of doing that tour guide walk backwards, like, but like very very coy little smile now. They know what they've done. Yes, I would imagine we're all among friends, are we not?
I would like to just remind everyone that though we may appear to be alone in the woods, the three of us, there might be prying eyes elsewhere.
Well, it's as I said when we arrived. Propriety's different here.
Existing in the palace, one learns to operate under the assumption that they're never truly alone.
Astrid just turns as beet red as Octavia, but
I think seeing that, at least just sort of like heel turns or whatever, and it's still sort of like in front, but just like I don't want to like chuckle at their faces, but sort of turn around and you can kind of see the little curls bounce of like they're a little bit proud of this.
hold on.
Hmm.
I don't want to assume. Has Octavia fucked?
No. No, Octavia has Mary held her hand.
Octavia, do you?
Let Octavia say fuck. Let Octavia commit regicide. Let Octavia fuck.
The three pillars of this season.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
He's manifesting it last season by saying fuck, and then season 2 is
Maslow's hierarchy of fuck. A fucking, a fuckitude, a fuckery.
Mm-hmm. Say fuck around, actually fuck. The secret fourth step, prop it? I don't know.
As long as we don't have to do it in pools of blood.
OF for Octavia fans is still OF.
Please, no.
Incredible.
She's just a little guy.
So the three of you are having an absolute lovely conversation as you are walking through the woods, and
Absolutely.
you've gotten used to the sounds. It no longer is strange when you hear your feet crunching against what is on the ground, because it similarly is metallic and it does not crinkle in the way that leaves do. But you've gotten used to the quiet cracking and rushing sound beneath your feet and the light reflecting off of the trees. And that is why it startles you. In fact, I think, Elise, you almost walk right into what appears to be a line of trees set next to each other. And it would almost seem like a mirrored wall if you didn't know better, if you didn't look up, and if you couldn't see each separate canopy. Because it, in essence, creates a mirrored wall. And there's a moment when all three of you look at your reflections, and Octavia, I want you to roll with dark.
JD's threatening me again.
What, you want Octavia to roll with fuck? I'm sorry?
Oh, please.
Woo.
That's gonna be a 9. We like 9 here, don't we? 9's a good number.
We can appreciate a 9.
We can appreciate a 9. We can 100%
We are pro 9.
appreciate a 9.
I would point of order. You said this is actually like reflective, like a mirror.
It is. Yep.
Ellie sees that and turns around. Just point of order.
Yep. That
Cool.
is totally fair.
Just want to get that out there.
That is totally fair. So, Octavia, you are looking at your reflection and Astrid's reflection. Elise has moved out of the way. They are behind a tree, not wanting to be anywhere near this. And you don't mean to peer into the glass in the way you do. You know that stopping in Faerie can be very dangerous, especially if something has come up in front of you like an obstacle in this way. But you can't look away. And you are staring at Astrid's reflection. And you're not sure if it changes or your understanding of Astrid's face and what they look like changes. But images start running through your mind so very quickly. Memories. Going backwards in chronological order, you're running through the last several months, the way Astrid changed when they came back after their time away, the limited contact that you had had with them beforehand, the fact that you had had no contact with them beforehand. And then you are seeing your sister Ophelia and her face. And you keep moving backwards through all of the memories that you have of her. And something clicks. And you realize that Astrid and Ophelia look the same, or at least have been designed to look the same. And that is where we're going to take our break.
Hey, JD, what the fuck?
Really
in
chill
pain.
things are happening. So many chill things are happening. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's so chill. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to let my cast scream at me and say, hey, JD, what the fuck? A couple thousand times. And we're going to be back in 10 minutes.
I guess so.
JD,
I guess those are the
what have you
implications.
done?
The Randies.
The way I did not even know this about your sister. And
I
it
should have.
just happened.
I don't think
I
any of
should
us
have known
knew you
when
had
JD
a
was-
sister up until today. If I'm being
Octavia-
entirely honest.
Has very specifically never spoken about her family. Like that's been a point of mine to JD is like Octavia's family not cool. Well, not cool, just like not in the public eye. But I should have known when JD was sending me all those ominous texts today that it was like connected, because I was like, oh, JD's gonna do two things that are different and both related to my family. What a
JD, when did
fool
you
I
check
was.
us live?
Don't worry about it. This is
Like a minute ago.
I've
Oh,
done
he said
nothing
a
wrong
pants.
ever in my
Oh, she's
life. I
unhappy.
just, I just take the threads you all give me and I ask questions, and it's fine.
We can't listen. No, I get it. We can't offer a master weaver silk and not expect them to build a masterpiece. That's that would be unfair. That would be unfair to ask them not to make a masterwork, right? I'm
Also, I'm distracted
so
by the buddy
Is it?
in Kit's arms.
I listen. I made a mistake. She is velcroed via claws into my dress right now. She does not want to leave. I know, sweetheart. I know. I know, but you're made of knives. You're made of knives, ma'am. And I am but flesh and blood.
In
All right, say wow to everybody.
Every day I wake up and I am nowhere near Vincent, and I am immeasurably depressed by the fact.
Can I get away for a jab, please? And then I will let you be. Okay.
Yeah! Somebody clip that.
Go back to bed.
Please.
She's
Let
been
the cat say
working in the
fuck.
background all evening. I had to get some proper Bans content. And now she's
Vincent
digging in the
say
trash.
fuck.
Okay, no, we're not doing that. Go.
We're having technical difficulties.
Yes, I was like, well, Elise is trying to find a cat in the foliage.
Wrangling fake cats. Don't worry about it.
The other two of you are standing in front of this wall of trees that has blocked your path. And in that moment, Octavia, as your brain puts those pieces together, as you see that resemblance, the trees shatter. And the glass falls harmlessly to the ground.
I think the mixture of that and the sudden shattering, Octavia is like fully frozen in place. Is very clearly extraordinarily distressed by the events that have just unfolded to her.
God, I had to choose the snack that sucks all of the moisture from your mouth. Would Astrid notice like Octavia like freezing up and being okay?
Oh yeah. It's a lot more obvious in Faerie than it usually is because she can keep a tab on it, but you don't keep a tab on things here.
Okay, so I promise I'm not pulling this string specifically because I want you to find me hot.
What? Excuse
that
me?
made sense. That made sense in autism brain. Okay, listen.
No, that was amazing. That was beautiful.
I get it.
It's the name of the game, baby.
Okay. I have a string on everyone because literally it says you are hot, almost irresistibly so. Gain a string on everyone. So I'm going to pull a string on you. I would like to influence you to tell me what the fuck you just saw because I didn't see what you just saw. But because you've been so kind to me and so wonderful and informative, despite us not knowing each other very well, when I pull this string as part of my playbook, I can help you find or achieve something important that you need, and you gain experience in the process. So I'm going to pull the string, and I would love for you to tell me what the fuck is going on, but you gain experience, and you get something you need.
Octavia snaps back to reality and takes a deep breath. And the frost sort of fades. It doesn't melt. It just seems to disappear from her legs and her hands. Can I touch your face?
Yes, if that will help you with the affliction that has come across your
It's
entire
not. Oh,
body.
okay. No, I'm sorry. When I get nervous or upset or anxious or I am startled, I frost over.
No,
It's
if you need it as a grounding technique, then yes, please.
not a
You may
grounding
touch my face.
technique. I just need to. This can't be real. There's not. You're not on the books. You're impossible.
Do you mean I'm not on the books? I'm here in the
There's no
flesh.
Winter Court recording of a changeling in the Primer family. But you're not a Winter Fae. You're an Autumn. And you look exactly like my sister.
I think Astrid is going to like place her hands delicately on top of Octavia's hands and slowly like curl her fingers around them and lower the hands down. Octavia, bless your heart. I have no idea what you're even talking about. I just asked about changelings for other reasons. What are you talking about? I look just like your sister.
Tit for tat like my sister. Your eyes, your hair. I didn't recognize it until you told me, and I didn't recognize it until I saw in that mirror.
But could I be your sister? I'm the oldest of my siblings. I'm the oldest of all of them. I've seen all of my siblings since they quite literally came out of my mother. I I
My
I don't
family isn't in society. They stepped away for reasons that were never divulged to me. I have had a sister 5 years older all of my life, but she was never allowed to take my place as the scion of Frostpin. And I think I know why.
but I'm confused because if you said your sister's 5 years older than you. Do I have memories from before I was 5, JD?
No, not really. Like the very amorphous memories that you have when you look back at that time. Nothing concrete, nothing that would tell you clearly one way or the other. You know, you have images of places, you know, of a crib, of things like that, but it looks like a normal crib. It doesn't look like anything that would tell you, was that in the mortal world? Was that not in the mortal world?
Octavia, I mean, I wish I could say I have all of my memories, or I have all of my memories from before I was 5, but I mean, children often don't retain if any of their memories from a certain time, but I am 100% certain that I've spent my entire life under the Primer household.
That's what changelings do.
But why would the why now? Why now? Why now? Why the revelations at this point, right? At everything with everything going on, the last thing any of us needs is
Don't you think it was weird that when I entered the season, they kept us apart until my uncle was sure that I would be removed?
I've not thought anything of it. I just thought,
Do you think
it was
perhaps weird your connection with nature when you left? It was sudden, wasn't it?
as soon as I got to the Carewood Cottage, yes.
You're developing your Fae powers. You're reawakening that connection.
I would love to keep my cool.
I would love for you to do that. Please do that.
That is a 9. So, what? Oh, I don't get to ask a question. Never mind, because my question was going to be, so what the fuck? Yeah,
Nope.
on a 7 to 9, so I'm afraid of this actually being real, and everything I know about my entire life being a fucking lie, and not knowing what to tell Dorian. Because I feel like, in essence, I've been lying to my fiance this entire time about who I am. So yeah, that's I'm trying to keep a stiff upper lip despite all of those fears conglomerating at once.
And so, what I'm going to say in terms of that, in terms of how this would make you vulnerable, Octavia clearly knows more than you do. And I think you're stuck in between two equally terrible options. Option one is you do keep a stiff upper lip. You hold back on all of this. You maybe even choose not to believe it. But not believing something doesn't mean it isn't real. And right now, Octavia is the person who has the most knowledge and information, and in fact, personal information, if what she is saying is accurate, that you are her sister. That said, if you do allow those walls to come down, you're in Faerie. You don't know what else is here, and you don't know what could be accidentally unleashed. So either way, you're vulnerable. It's a matter of, do you hold back and not get the information that could help you? Or do you release that emotion and see what the emotion of a changeling from the Autumn Court does in the heart of Faerie?
This isn't the exact situation my partner and I were fighting about earlier today, but it is very similar. So stop attacking me, JD. One.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. You know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. Astrid's been literally prim and proper their entire fucking life. I think with Octavia's hands still curled firmly into her own, Astrid is going to drop to their knees, pull Octavia down with her, and just kind of unleash and just scream as like that exaltation of all of the stress and fear and anxiety and stifling and decades of anger and feeling like she didn't belong releasing out all at once.
I think Octavia just pulls her into a hug too once they hit the ground.
What do you imagine that looks like, Amber?
I feel like in like a radius around Astrid, just solely around Astrid, like a half circle almost. All of the grass around her turns brown. The way grass starts to die during the late autumn as it transitions into winter. Any greenery, any trees start to gradually lose their leaves, or any vines start to maybe not completely die, but start that um, transition towards their dying state. Um, and the air starts to turn a mite bit chillier. Not as nippy as it would be during the winter, but definitely has the same bite as that first like chilly morning in autumn.
And I imagine that with Octavia hugging you, there is a sheen of frost that covers the fallen leaves around you, and those of you who have connections to Faerie, there is an element of this that is cathartic to everyone who is watching, who sees this emotion released in this way. And there is a part that is terrifying, because this is the unchangeable heart of Faerie, and it has just been changed. Astrid has just brought autumn to a space that is never meant to be touched by the seasons.
Oops.
And
My
you
bad.
do not know of anyone who has ever been able to do that. And in that moment, you hear a horn blown in the distance. And the earth beneath your feet shakes. And at least you, Octavia, know that that signals that the wild hunt is riding.
How bad is that? Like, is that like a we're coming to kill you riding?
You don't know. This is unprecedented. This has never happened. Elise, a question.
God.
Yeah.
I think sort of has been watching this from a distance, very much shutting up and watching. I think when this happens, their expression sort of darkens a bit. And I would like to take a moment to gaze into the abyss, if I may.
Please do.
Yes. Please.
My vampire girlfriend's so cool, guys.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just a little guy.
Sorry, my little guy girlfriend is so cool,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you. Let's see. I'm not good at this one. Well, maybe I don't need to be. That's a 7. I'll take it.
Incredible. What question are you asking the Abyss? And also, if you want to just send me that question, that's totally fine too.
The question is, what the fuck?
I mean, the question is along the lines of what the fuck. I will give you that on the free ski. Let's see. I think this is obvious enough that it can be, in front of the class. I'm trying to figure out what's different about Astrid or Ophelia or whoever this ends up being. What is within her or acting on her that makes her able to do this? Because this should not happen.
Fuck if I know.
I think that is a very reasonable question, and you have gotten these bits and pieces that you are trying to untangle and make sense of. You have, of course, heard the talk of changelings. You have heard Octavia say there is no record of there being a changeling in the Primer family from the Winter Court. And you can clearly see, as Octavia hypothesized, that Astrid's powers are that of Autumn. But that doesn't explain things. And that bothers you as you look at Astrid and try to make sense of what you're seeing in the energy swirling around them. And you realize as you're looking at them that you have never seen energy like this swirling around one of the Fae. This is not what Octavia looks like. This is not what Sorrel looks like. This is not anything you have seen before, because in not knowing what she was, Astrid has become something more. And you can't entirely pinpoint why or how. But in trying to find herself, Astrid has become essentially something that has not existed in this exact way. Because they are not just a fairy. They have access to more than that.
Huh?
We'll see
Okay.
if we get an answer to exactly what it is that has brought Astrid to that next level, but Astrid is on the next level.
Okay. All right. That's is information worth having. For sure. think they will continue to sort of, I don't know that they would necessarily approach, but they're watching more openly and intently, like not trying to hide the fact that they're looking, essentially, and just sort of waiting for this to die down if it's going to. I don't want to get caught up in whatever this is. I don't know if it can affect the heart of the Fae. I don't know if it can affect me. But yeah, I think once it dies down, they would approach cautiously, but I don't know when that happens. That is not mine to dictate. They don't look scared, though.
I think Octavia sort of glances away from Astrid for a moment and smiles at Elise. And then just doesn't pull Astrid out of the hug, but sort of lifts their face up to meet Octavia's gaze. Welcome to Faerie, sister. We need to leave.
Yes, of course, yes.
Not for any fault of your own, or, well, it's not great. Octavia will stand up and will pull Astrid up if they'll come, and turn to Elise. The Wild Hunt is riding, which is not clear news or information, but it is questionably safe. What would you guys like to do? How would you like to handle it?
How did Elise? No, you know what? We can ask those questions later. How do we get out of here? How do we get back to the surface?
I imagine the same way you all got in.
We fell in.
In places like these, you don't always fall up. I suppose you could fall again.
I suppose we could. But that's not... We could go home. I think my parents know how to go back. They haven't taught me how to leave yet, just how to come in. I didn't mean to come in this time, especially not here.
You did have to get out in the first place, though.
I was brought out by Helix and an entire caravan of court.
If you think it is safe?
I don't know what's safe anymore. I don't want to go home, especially not with Astrid in tow. I don't know how they feel about you. I don't know if they'll recognize you. Well, they will, obviously. You're identical to my sister, except my sister is disguised as an autumn fae. You are as a winter fae, and you are really an autumn fae, which, questionable how that came about in a Frostpin family.
If she is fae, could she not just use a disguise?
Well, she's using a disguise all the time. I mean, I guess I don't... If you don't know what's a disguise, is it really a disguise?
A more disguising disguise that would perhaps work with your family.
Here.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where we should go or what we should do. My entire world is literally falling apart. I'm just here to follow whatever guidance anyone would like to give anybody, please.
Can Octavia try to call on Winter and see if she can pick a direction. I'll give you like a
Open
gaze
to
into the
that.
abyss, maybe.
Yeah, I'm open to that. Roll with dark.
I love rolling with dark. It's my favorite activity. That's not too bad. That's a 6 and a 5 plus 1 to dark is 12 total.
Sorry, GT, I need you to repeat that real quick.
12 total.
Okay. And so your question to the abyss is, what is my quickest way out?
How do I get home?
How do I get home? Hmm. What does Octavia consider to be their home?
It's a tough question. I think right now, oh, this is such a waste of it. But I think right now they're as home as they're gonna be with Elise and with their
Oh.
with her now sister, with people that she knows and trusts. And even though she lives with Abigail, she doesn't necessarily consider that home because she eventually wants to return Winter to what it should be. So, if I may twist my own words, home is where the three of us are safest and together.
Okay. So several things are going to happen. And the first is that as you are reflecting on your connection with Astrid, this new relationship, Faerie reflects a bit more of that back to you. And you start to feel some pieces sink into place. And I don't know how Octavia feels about it in this moment because Octavia has believed that she has found a long lost sister that they didn't know they even had, or that they thought they already knew in Ophelia. But you start to think about what Helix told you, about what put your family in disgrace. And the fact that your family was accused of treasonous activity. And you think about whispers that you heard growing up, bits and pieces that didn't make sense until this moment. Your uncle's anger when your father apparently failed at his duty, which was to sabotage the Autumn Court, bringing the changeling to the mortal realm. And you realize that Laszlo has been aware of this entire time. Which means London is not the safest place. for a newly awakening Fae. And you understand why your family was in such disgrace and why your sister Ophelia was never allowed to leave the house. Because your family adopted the child. And that was never supposed to happen. They were supposed to prevent this exchange, but they allowed it. In fact, they facilitated it. And you know that they made a deal with the Autumn Court to do that. That's why Laszlo couldn't convince them to take it back.
JD, I have a question.
Yeah? Just
Can I-
one?
Well, a couple. The first one is can I maybe have a little bit of narrative weight here in terms of moving us to safety? You could tell me no to the thing I'm about to describe. But can I
Please
also
describe it.
roll to keep my cool?
Uh-huh.
And what do you roll with that? Oh, you roll with cold, which you would think Octavia would be good at, but no, it's -1.
Old hands, warm heart.
It's not. I was hoping for it. So I was like, this makes the most sense. I rolled a 1 and the second die was cocked, so I was like, I'll roll it again. So I roll the second die. It's another 1. So 2 minus 1 is 1 total on keeping your cool.
Cool.
And as for that narrative weight, I think Octavia would work in Faerie the only way that she knows how, and that's using her powers. And would just sort of Elise might know this better than Astrid would, but Octavia just kind of snaps a little bit and shoots from their foot a door of ice. Which they will then bash open to Winter.
Oh my.
If that's okay.
I will allow it. I will allow it.
I love it when you say that.
There's going to be consequences, but I'll allow it.
That's fine. I've been taking Rammies that weren't even mine since the start of season 1, so it's time I made my own.
Hell yeah.
Bespoke Rammies. I'm so proud.
We respect this, JT.
Thank you.
No more taking the L for Octavia. Take your own L's.
I'm going to be manufacturing them.
Be the L's you wish to see in the world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What I am going to say, the immediate consequence of this is, and you don't really have enough time to stay and see how true this is, but as you create that door out of ice and throw it open, the trees nearby start to ice over. And the ice starts to move up the branches, coating them. And now autumn is not the only season that has had an effect on the heart of Faerie. But you don't really have a chance to see that because you hear hoofbeats coming your way. Sounds like a lot of riders are on a direct path to you, and I would imagine you dive right through that door to get to the other side.
Octavia's just like, quickly this way. Elise, I know it's sudden. How would you like to meet my parents?
I suppose.
Elise, I'm so sorry that you have to be present for this wild ride of revelations today. But I appreciate you being here all the same.
Yes. Well, shall we then? And I think as they're going that door, Elise pauses and looks back and may or may not pause long enough to meet eyes with the first rider.
Oh, you certainly do, because they are almost there. And you see a horse that is at least 21 hands. It is an incredibly large steed, and it is pitch black with eyes that appear to be made of fire. And it sees you. The rider slows it. In fact, I think the horse rears, and you meet eyes with the rider as he gazes straight ahead at you. Just nods.
And Elise holds their own. That sort of like, if anything, a little bit of pride in that. And just sort of turns and shuts the door behind her.
Absolutely incredible. You are now in the heart of winter. GT, would you like to describe what the Frostpin estate looks like?
Currently, it is a lovely little cottage. The stones that make it up are a mixture of whites and blues and grays. There are bushes of various Fae flora, and there is just a blanket of the fluffiest snow on the ground. The windows are sheer as ice, and the shingling on it appears to actually be ice. On the door is the Frostpin family crest, an ever frozen snowflake, as the sort of signature of their magic. Um, there are stables out of the way. It, it's a disgraced family's home, but like a noble disgraced family's home. It is the home is not left for wanting as far as comfort goes. No chimney because they have no need for fire, and the walkway is covered in snow. They don't need to shovel.
And so, Octavia, you have very rarely been too far beyond the bounds of your family home. You were kept pretty isolated during your time with the Winter Court. How do you approach? Do you just walk up and knock? Do you open the door without knocking?
She doesn't know. She lives here. This is her family's home, and this is her home, and well, not her. This is where she lives, and she's not very happy with them right now.
And remind me, Octavia, before we walk in, what has your relationship with your parents been like? Because I do recall most of your time was spent with Helix, your tutor.
Um, Mostly like amicable. as far as she was concerned, growing up, her parents were both very busy. You know, helping Uncle Laszlo with court stuff, because that's what she was told. She never had any reason to believe that they weren't doing something, but they were just so busy, too busy to send Ophelia to season, and they trusted me with Helix, so they would take me to season instead, and I would be the face of the Frostpin family.
And so, how do you announce yourself as you enter?
I think the door opens just a little more forcefully than she would have liked. And she would sort of just shout down the hall. Maybe not shout, but look to a servant and just sternly go, "Tell my parents their exile is home." And we have
And
guests.
the servant is not used to taking orders from you in this way, but the fact that you are here is concerning, and the fact that you have others with you is even more concerning. And so the servant hurries to alert your parents.
I'll take Astrid and Elise into the drawing room, the den, where Octavia spent most of her childhood studying with Helix.
Sure.
Octavia, are they going to be happy to see us?
Doesn't matter.
Yes, but I would like a warning.
Probably not, but that's not going to be your problem. They're perfectly amicable in front of guests.
Understood.
They know about mortal propriety.
Suppose we can stick with that?
But would they assume that we are mortal?
They will not assume mortality necessarily, but they'll know at least that Elise is not Fae.
Will they?
Yes.
Have
It's
you
very
spoken
obvious.
about me?
No, I don't write them. I'm not supposed to.
Then how is it that they would know?
You don't look Fae, darling. Don't get me wrong, you're, stunning ass, but it's a certain air about you. It's not.
Hmm. Hey, no offense taken. It is interesting to know. I mean, how am I to know these things?
As for you, Astrid, it took me a long time to figure out glamours, so I don't imagine you're going to necessarily be able to do it right away. But if you'd like to try, it depends entirely how you wish to be perceived by them.
The only magic I've really been able to do on my own is just to feel presences and kind of peer into just the edges of things. I don't know the first thing about developing a glamour or.
Do you want my 2 cents on the issue?
Sure.
I don't think you should hide who you are. It's not your fault. None of this is, and I'm sorry that you have to be here for this. This is just the safest place for you right now.
Is she here?
Probably.
Will the world collapse if we meet?
No, it's nothing like that. She's just been disguised and raised here. She's accustomed to the magic, but you're not the same entity.
Well, impossible to hide hair that's turning into leaves anyway, so
You could make a convincing nature witch, perhaps. But I think Octavia has a point. There's only so much hiding who you are. Only so much of that you need to be put through. Though I do have concerns. Do you think Ophelia knows?
Certainly not.
Mm.
I didn't even know.
And it is at that point that you hear footsteps coming down the hall, and your parents walk through the door. Neither one of them looking particularly pleased with this development. Your father looks worried, and you can't really read the expression on your mother's face, but she looks around the room and her eyes fall on you, Octavia, and then you, Elise. And they pause before going to Astrid. And she says, "What is the meaning of all of this, Octavia?"
Do you need to take one more look around the room?
I am aware of what I'm going to see. What is the meaning of this? How did you get here?
On accident. And then we were going to have a lovely little run-in with the wild hunt, but that didn't seem like what my sister needed.
And your father says, "They're not your sister." Not exactly.
No more than the other one.
Octavia, you cannot speak a word of this to Ophelia.
No. Why would she have the right to know who she is? Right? Just like I didn't have the right to know who I was going to be? Or is this entire family just secrets?
And your mother sighs and says, "Octavia, if we did not share something with you, it was for your own good."
No, of course. And instead I get to find out now. A traitor to my people for my own good. Lot of good. It's done, hasn't it? I turned out just like mother and father.
And your father says, Octavia, the choices that you have made have been your own. We have had no influence over the things that you have done since you arrived for the season. We certainly did not send you to become utterly embroiled in a conflict.
I became embroiled in that conflict because my uncle, your brother, does not have the foresight to see why his actions are disrupting a balance that is very delicate for a reason.
And your mother says, and speaking of balance, Octavia, what did you do while you were here? What brought on the wild hunt? To fix what had been broken. We felt it even here.
I learned the truth, and I got a little upset, attempting to make haste here. My magic interacted with the heart of Faerie.
And your father quite literally just puts his head in his hands and just says, "Oh, Octavia, no."
I would like to interfere, actually.
Please do.
I have a move called Enchanting Lure. Lure. Lure.
Lure?
Depending on your fucking accent. You can magically persuade others to do almost anything as long as they think it will benefit them. The spell is broken when they get what they want or they think they will never get it. I'm going to make the argument that my magic is all over the fucking place right now because I don't know what I'm doing. And so Astrid is going to make an impassioned plea. I believe that Octavia is being too modest and doing her level best to protect me from everything and trying to take on the burden as she often is wont to do. But I have to admit, Lord and Lady Frostpin, that it was my magic, actually, that upset and called on the wild hunt. Please do not levy any sort of blame or punishment or any further sort of negativity towards Octavia. I do believe that she's been through quite enough. All in the name of preserving the Frostpin name. And so she's making this impassioned plea to like go easy on Octavia and to just chill the fuck out. Maybe give her a place to hang until the wild hunt is ceased.
I like that a lot. And you can see that they both feel reassured when you take ownership over this. Like, there is an immediate, yep, that makes sense. Like, this was something to do with you, like our Octavia would never do anything like that. Attention completely off of her in that way. And Octavia's father, Lord Frostpin, says, well, in that case, it would seem prudent to return the three of you to London as soon as possible, where the wild hunt cannot reach you.
No, it's not safe for them there. Their Fae powers are unlocking.
Well, unless you plan on moving their location throughout Faerie as often as possible, they're not going to be any safer here. I believe it should be their choice.
We can keep them safe. We can keep each other safe.
I feel like anyone that has gone through any sort of upheaval of this magnitude can feel affirmed that they're moving among family, and it just so happens we literally are. Family protects each other.
That they do.
In that case, Astrid, I can't ask you to move in with Miss Donatelli. However, I don't know if you'll want to go home after this.
Would my parents have any idea? Are they even my...
I didn't have any idea until you told me what was going on. It seems like maybe you can hide it from most people, I think, just by virtue of whatever's going on.
And your mother, Octavia, says, I think that is one thing we can help with, if nothing else. If you will just give me a moment. And she exchanges a look with her husband, and he does not seem to be fully buying into this. Like, there is definitely a look of like, are we really about to offer this? And her look is just, yes, we fucking are. And he accepts that and nods. And she doesn't even leave the room. She walks to the side and touches a box. And anyone looking sees the symbols on the box change. And when she opens it, she takes out a necklace with a pendant that appears almost full of light when she first raises it. And then it fades to a pale silver. And she extends a hand with the necklace resting on it and says, this should shield you from the eyes of the Fae. I cannot guarantee that it will protect you from others and what they can perceive, but your hair, those features, they will be hidden.
This is very kind and generous of you, Lady Frostpin. Astrid will very gingerly take this and do the clasp herself behind her neck. I will take care of it as if it has been mine all along. I promise it will not fall into the wrong hands. Thank you for your kindness.
It should have been yours all along, and in this instance, I will pretend that I did not hear your thanks and everything that that would imply. For your own sake, not having been raised here or understanding the customs and how dangerous words are. That is our gift to you, and so is safe passage for the three of you.
I think Octavia will move in to hug her mother and then to her father. Sorry for snapping at you. You didn't have a choice, much like Helix doesn't. I will do my best to get our name back, and then some. Can't step away from this. I hope you understand.
And your parents both return the hug, though your father looks sad when you say that, sad but understanding, and says, "You have been burdened with the mistakes of this family since you were born, Octavia, and that is our fault. Forge whatever path forward is the right and just one."
Thank you.
Now are the three of you ready to return to London?
Very much so.
Fortunately, it doesn't seem like staying for dinner is an option this time around.
It would not surprise me if the Wild Hunt were at our door in the next 15-20 minutes, and I would prefer that you be elsewhere. Niall can be so disagreeable when he is angry.
Understood.
And your mom looks at you, Octavia, and asks, "And you? Are you ready?"
Ready for what exactly? To go back? To return to a war I didn't mean to start? Or just ready in general to return to couch surfing?
I suppose to all of the above.
Octavia will reach a hand over to Elise's hand, and will just squeeze it a little bit. As I'll ever be, mother.
Elise squeezes back.
Your father clocks that immediately and looks back and forth between the two of you and directly asks, Octavia, have you met someone?
I've met lots of people.
I'm not certain that was the question.
Are the two of you courting?
Not so many words, I don't think. Still have
Suppose
to
that's
meet
a
her
conversation we
fiancé.
might have first.
Indeed.
I don't see why we can't have it.
Well, that is fascinating. Good for you, Octavia. I'm excited about your prospects. We shouldn't be talking about the season about this when you're also talking about war. Let's get you out of here before the Wild Hunt arrives and we have to have a conversation with Niall that none of us want to have.
No, I don't
Send
think we
Niall my
do.
regards.
No, I would quite like to live to meet you again. Under perhaps better circumstances. It's a curtsy, very proper.
With your arm entwined with the queen.
Astrid is going to look at the entwined hands, like puzzling between knowing Elise is affianced.
Mhm.
But I'm not going to say shit. Not here.
And so your parents, Octavia, lead the three of you to a separate room, a room that you know is one that your parents keep locked. It is for their own magical work. And your mother walks over to. It is not a mirror in this case. It is literally a sheet of ice. And presses her hand into it, and you see smoke start to rise. In fact, starting to fill the entire room. And she says, several of you are already holding hands, but I would recommend you continue to do so. And then take mine, and I will lead you through.
Octavia will offer her hand to Astrid.
Astrid will take it.
I guess that means I'm holding your mom's hand. Yeah, all right.
Damn, Elise.
Let's go.
Shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
Shit.
I want you to make
I've
a
got
good
2
first
free hands at the
impression,
moment,
dear.
so it's a timeshare situation. It's fine.
Hand holding is as important as handshakes to us.
That's very
It's as
intimate.
important as it is in London.
Indeed.
Oh, good. Does that mean moves just happened?
Yeah, is
At least between those two. I don't know that I necessarily want to claim that a move happened between Elise and Octavia, and then Elise and Octavia's mother. I feel like within the same scene, that's a bit gauche.
Oh yeah, I was about to say, did Octavia's mom just turn someone on towards Elise?
Because it's working.
I mean, essentially, maybe just a little. In this instance, we're not going to have any moves activate.
Right.
So we may talk about some things after the fact. But right now, the three of you are being guided through what appears to be a hallway of fog. It is brutally cold for those of you not used to that type of temperature, and you cannot see anything in front of you. All you can feel is the hand of the person you are holding, and you are trusting them to continue guiding you forward. And then you are out, stepping out of an alley in London, a cloud of mist behind you, and your mother has immediately released the hands that she was holding and stepped back and says, "This is already further than I am permitted to go. Stay safe. Write if you are able."
I think now that I'm not under Laszlo's ever so careful watch, it's a little safer to write.
Take care of yourself, Octavia.
As long as I can take care of everybody else as well.
That is a noble cause, but to do that, you need to take care of yourself first.
Understood.
She'll have help.
She's got family on our side too.
And your mother hugs you, Octavia, and then steps back and disappears into the fog. And it dissipates, and the three of you are back in London.
Elise does not let go of the hand.
Octavia all the same.
Elise, if I may,
Please, by all
what
means.
happened with you and Fitz?
What do you mean, what happened?
The last I saw that you were with the captain.
He just sort of looks at hand holding Octavia's, hand empty. We've talked things over. Does it bother you?
I didn't know. Is he aware that this is happening? I mean, if you have consent,
It would be quite good if you did not.
oh, okay, great.
I'd still quite like
Okay.
to meet him though as well. I'm not. The captain's not my type, but the lover of my lover and all that. Not to imply literally.
There's a squeeze in that hand.
I think I've had
Acknowledged.
many revelations today, friends.
Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. Congratulations to you both, sincerely, and I hope nothing but happiness and joy to all of your endeavors.
And yours as well. I do hope this is a revelation of curiosity and not one of, dare I say, jealousy.
Oh, no.
Sister,
Curiosity.
I promise I will not tell Dorian this information. However, a word of advice, family to family. Communication tends to work a lot better if everything is on the table between two folk. I will be there with you if you need me to be, were that ever to come up. But I think you should settle into yourself first before returning to that topic.
I have a lot of conversations that I need to consider having. But I hope that I might have, if I felt so inclined to send a letter your way, Octavia, that it would be accepted.
All you have to do is ask.
Thank you.
I mean it. As
Um,
far as I'm concerned, we're family now.
I guess we always have been. Just never knew it.
Powers that be and all that.
Less powers that be. Appropriate. I believe I need a long night's rest. I'll leave you to it. Thank you for everything today, Octavia. Please. I hope you don't think any less of me for my outbursts there in the heart of Faerie, and I hope this does not change your estimations of me.
Only for the better.
Yeah, that. Yes. Only for the better. It's quite an impressive display, too.
Apparently
It
you
was
too.
quite unprecedented, if I'm led to believe.
Neither of you would know this, but altering the heart of Fae is no simple task. It is
Then
unclaimed
congratulations.
territory. Oh,
And
no,
congratulations should also... Sorry, go ahead.
You go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say congratulations should be in order to you too, Octavia.
No, that I was angry. It's not. It doesn't count.
You still altered the heart of Fae.
No more or less than you, dear.
Well then. Maybe we both have something special hiding beneath the surface. We just need to remove the glamour eventually.
Yes, if you want to, I can teach you how to do that as well, by the way.
Eventually, not tonight. Oh
Yes,
my
go,
god.
yes, of course. Go rest.
Yes.
Have a great night's sleep, or at least
Yes.
one driven by exhaustion.
Yes, I have a little voice in the back of my mind telling me that I need a hot bath of mimosa and a soft bed. So, I think I'm going to
That does
listen to
sound
that
quite
little
nice.
voice.
Doesn't it?
You know what they say in the Fae? To honor those instincts.
Sometimes it's okay to listen to those impulses. Good evening to the both of you. I will see you at a later time. And Astrid is going to turn pale, literally, and both of you can see the tail from underneath her skirts as she takes her departure.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't technically supposed to tell you, but
Oh, no. By all means, a secret's a secret, a promise is a promise.
do you promise not to tell anyone? Just that information, to be clear.
That information will not leave these lips, you have my word.
And how lovely they are.
Okay.
I think Elisa's still has not let go of the hand. Just sort of, fiddling with it in that way that you do when you're like, just like low-key drawing attention to the fact that, we're still holding hands. But I know how much a promise means to you. Would you promise something to me in return?
I suppose that depends what you're asking me to promise.
I will, there's not necessarily much in the hands of a mortal for power, given everything that is happening in London and beyond. I would do what I could to protect you, to protect your sister, whichever she may be, would you do the same to protect me, Octavia? Would you promise it?
My dearest Elise, you are no mere mortal. I promise, with everything that I am, were it to come down to me and whatever threat you face, I would stand so sturdily in its way that you may never even know it was there.
You have such a way with words that I think surpasses the natural gifts of Fae. I think that is all your own.
I've learned a lot from the people who have shown me the ways of non-Fae.
And I suppose in time you will learn more in that regard, should you see fit.
I see more than fit, I think. Are you busy? I haven't seen your studio in some time. I do believe you still owe me a painting.
I suppose I do. I suppose there's likely things which need taken care of first. I'm not entirely certain how long we've been gone, or how long I was gone before stumbling upon you. But we shall have to set something up then. Yes?
I don't have the winter cord breathing down my neck anymore, so lest I be fighting the war itself, I am free.
I may have to hold you to that. But for tonight, the sovereign must be checked in with. I am still, to some accord, beholden to the court, unfortunately.
Octavia will lift the hand they're still holding up and will kiss the back of it and leave a little bit of frost behind. Of course. You are very busy, and your duties are very important. Send the sovereign my regards, would you?
I will see what I can do in that regard. And Elise will press up on her toes and smooch Octavia on the cheek. All quite proper.
Of course.
We may be talking about some sex moves before we finish up this evening.
No, it's okay. I think I've taken care of mine.
I think you have as well. And I think with that, we see Octavia and Elise separate and make their ways to their respective locations. And we move away from Octavia and we follow Elise. And Elise pauses in an alley, raises the hood of their cloak, and we don't see much beyond what happens beneath, save for a brief shimmer and then purple hair fall out of the sides of that cloak. And that is where we are going to end tonight's session.
Oh,
I'm sure it's fine.
I'm sure it's so fine. I'm sure it's so fine. I don't know what bitch you're talking about, but don't worry about it. It's so
I am that
fine.
bitch. Thanks for noticing.
And I know all of you are wondering which purple-haired character this might be, and the answer is maybe you'll find out. Maybe you'll find out. But with that, thank you for an amazing session of a special season of Secrets and Shadows. You know what, Kit, you are like the most composed in this moment, so it's great that we're going to start with you to do an introduction.
Oh god, I don't even have my outro like pulled out. I'm not even ready. I was in it. Sorry, let me get out of it real quick. Cool. Hey. Hi, I'm Kit. Usually. You can find me most places on the internet at Kit Roll, or on Twitter, while supplies last at Kit Roll Cause. And tonight I have been Annalise Clarendon. That's for sure. And you can catch me here on Table 2, as Table 2 is wont to happen. I believe this week is also Table 2, so you can catch me right back here on Friday. You know, Elising it up in one way or another. We shall see. Aside from that, every other Saturday on Lost Caravan, you can catch me over there with Fatal Ascension, our Fabula Ultima campaign, where I am everyone's favorite little automaton. We are on the run from several different countries for regicide? Who knows? At this point, there's so much going on. It's great. There's no war crimes ever. Don't worry about it. Every other Wednesday, I will let G talk about this a bit more, but you can catch Beacons of Farlight, a little post-apocalyptic-ish campaign over on High Shelf. That they may or may not be running, and it's really cool and awesome. You should go check it out. It's super sick. We're off this week for hiatus, mid-season shenanigans, but we'll be back. Don't worry about it. So catch us over there every other Wednesday. I'm a little shapeshifter. That's cute. And probably nothing to worry about over there as well. That's the theme with my characters. Nothing to worry about. But of course, if you like magical girls, queer narratives, and stories of hope amongst defeat, you can catch Bloom and Blight, our Girl by Moonlight actual play podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. If it's not there, let me know. I'll put it there. That's a threat. For episode announcements, clips, and all of that jazz, find us on all of the socials at Bloom and Blight, spelled out. And for cast and character information, transcripts of all of our episodes, etc., go to bloomandblight.com. I believe that is all I am legally allowed to talk about at this point. Peep the socials. I will drop them as I'm allowed to drop them. Next.
Incredible. That means we are down to you, Amber.
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. I am Amber, also known as The Space Jamber. I am a 3-time Emmy-nominated TTRPG writer, editor, podcaster, and streamer. You can find me anywhere there's internet at The Space Jamber. I am improving my presence on Threads. I've been really threading it up this week. And I currently have a giveaway going on for the Phandelver and Below, not this copy, but a different one, Phandelver and Below, the Shattered Obelisk, on my Threads. So if you would like a free copy of that, please hit me up there, and you'll find all of our giveaway rules and regulations. Other things you can find me on, actually, My Girl by Moonlight, My Girl by Moonlight game just got canceled indefinitely. So I got nothing, homie. All of my games right now, apart from this one, are home games. So just find me on the internet, anywhere there's internet, at The Space Jamber. I'm here to talk TTRPGs, polyamory, K-pop, and whatever the fuck you want. I'm here for you. So thanks for having me, JD. This was feral, and I'm in massive amounts of emotional pain. I'm glad I could come to you while I was tired and say, hey, I have this dumb idea. And you said, bet, I'll make it worse. So
That's my job.
Yeah. It was great.
I am glad to have caused emotional damage tonight. And speaking of emotional damage, JT, how are you holding up?
Bad. I've been betrayed on multiple fronts by people I know and care about.
Love you.
Too many Rammies. This is what I get for caring about people and stuff. I am JT or Jeet. You can find me all over the internet at WeebG or on Threads at Weeb_Jeet. Tonight I was Lady Octavia Frostpit, or who knows? Maybe I was also somebody else. apparently, because I have been betrayed, and now everything is going to go wrong for me. You can what am I doing this week? I'm not doing jack all for till Sunday at least, where I will be on Neon Lights, playing in a special Minerva Exodus sequel called Melody Armed Interventions. Our Lancer campaign, I am bringing back my goofy little Spotify playlist of a boy, Orpheus. And then on the 29th, you can catch me back on High Shelf Collective with, as Kit said, with Kit, and also Kian and a few other of my very good friends over on High Shelf, where I run a gross punk, post-apocalyptic Magitech type world using the beacon system. It's a delight. And coming in the new year, I will be running 2 little beacon bites, one in January and then one in May. Little 3-episode bites where I'll be getting guest players on to play little mini campaigns of the Beacons game so my main actors can get a rest. It's going to be fun. And in 2024, once I have all the materials and stuff I need to get the project launched, I am launching a project in 2024. It's a secret, so don't tell anybody. But it's going to be good. It's going to be a good time, I think. I'm very excited for it. And I'm not actually upset because that was an absolute blast and a phenomenal reveal. And this whole game has been a roller coaster of fun and good, and also sometimes a little bit sad, but in the fun way. So thanks to JD, who is now up to speak, because I am done. I'm out of projects.
So I think we can all agree that we had a good and normal time tonight, and that I still have done nothing wrong ever in my life. We're going to start there, and then I'm just going to say, come back a couple of times this week, and you're going to see me back here. I will be here for Cold Iron tomorrow night, our Soviet Russia Changeling the Lost game, where we are investigating the murder of a scientist and engaging in feral behavior. I am playing a character who has done nothing wrong ever in his life as well. He is a sweet little hiss. That is all you need to know. You will also find me back here on Thursday for Redacted, the psychological horror game that I run, where some interesting things are going to happen. Reality might shatter again. Who knows? It's going to be a time. And then I will be back here with the second table. I don't know the order of tables anymore. The other table of A Season of Secrets and Shadows. Maybe going to hell. We're going to see. It will be a lot of fun. Can't wait to see what goes down. And you can find me in a bunch of other things. I will plug this because I love it and it makes my soul happy. Even though we just recorded Academy H last night, if you haven't checked out Academy H, please do. It is an incredible Masks Actual Play podcast that Will runs. And we are entering the season 1 finale arc. And boy, oh boy, is it everything I could have imagined and more. Speaking of emotional roller coasters, it is an emotional roller coaster. We also dropped an episode on your podcatcher of choice yesterday. Yes, yesterday. I don't know time. It's fine. That you can check out if you have not. And if you have not checked out any of the episodes, they are all on the different podcatcher forums. So check those out. Check out our live recordings. We'll be back on the 26th. I love that game. I love those people. And I do so many other things that I'm not going to name because we'd be here all night. But I think with that, we shall find someone to raid. So don't go anywhere. I'm going to go to the thanks for watching screen because I can't do 2 things at once. And so hang around. We will raid someone, be nice, say hello. And we will be back for this game on Friday. We will be back for other games tomorrow. Basically, keep an eye out because we'll be here. Oh, yeah. Speaking of that, socials. I did remember socials. you can find us on all of those. You can find us on Discord. A lot of exciting things happen on Discord. We are currently starting casting calls in the near future for our winter event, which was going to be the 12 games of Hasmus, and now might be the 14 to 16 games of Hasmus, because we don't know what to do in terms of saying no, and we just greenlight everything. So yes, have a good night, everyone. Find us on socials, find us on Discord, stay around for the raid, and thanks for watching. Say goodnight, cast.
Good night, cast.
Good night, cast.
Good night.